The question to ask is, what happens when a woman flaps her wings? And my answer is this: when a woman flaps her wings, she creates, she nurtures, and she transforms. This is our demographic in the Philippines. There are 105,720,644 of us. It's too many of us. We are the 12th most populous nation in the world, 7th in Asia, and 2nd in Southeast Asia. There are 102 males per 100 females. So if you're wondering why you still don't have a boyfriend, that's the reason. There is a scarcity in resources. Now, the question is, a Filipina flapping her wings, what does it mean? How is it as Filipinos, what comes into our mind when a woman is flapping her wings? First, it could be, she's a manananggal. I remember stories when I was younger. We had a neighbor. She was so strong. She's incredibly strong that people thought she was manananggal. Because, you know, opening like a jar of peanut butter, for example, it was very difficult for most of my uncles, but it was very easy for her. And, you know, we had a very stubborn cow. And it was always very difficult to get the cow to go back to the house. But she managed to just stare at the cow, and the cow would follow. So we thought she was manananggal because she was strong, and she could make even the cows follow her. So when you think about Filipinas flapping their wings, it could be manananggal, or it could be it's a bruja, it's a witch. You know, I come from Dumaguete. Right in front of it is, of course, Siquijor. That's the land of the witches. Yes. I remember when I was younger, we had two dormers who were coming from Siquijor. And they always had stories about that. And they actually used rituals, you know. There were the little brujitas in the house, but the good ones, like of course me. But, of course, when you think about brujas, you also think about the knowledge of the witches. They, even in other cultures, including our own, the witches are the ones who have a knowledge of herbs. They have a knowledge of the earth. They have a knowledge of the sky. They have a knowledge of the weather. They have a knowledge of how things work and how things wouldn't. It's just that as time went by, we forgot about this knowledge and focused on the negative. So when a woman is smart, has knowledge, sometimes she's thought of as eccentric or a witch. But now, we see women as healers. But the problem is that when we see women as healers, we see them as the ancillary healers, meaning to say that they're assistants to the god in the white coat, who is unfortunately a man. Why is this so? It's because perhaps there are a lot of reasons, and we can speculate. But perhaps it's because when the foreigners came, you know, the women that we revered so much, ultimately went into the tracks and then forgot what their place was in society. If you remember, we had a babaylan. These were women, mostly women, who were healers. They had this extraordinary relationship with the earth, extraordinary knowledge about what things are the past, of the present, and of the future, and everything that they have, their extraordinary gifts, they passed on. But what was important with the babaylans, apart from being healers and apart from being the herbalist during that time, or the pharmacist during that time, of course without a degree, is that what is important to them was community. They were the connecting people. They were the ones who connected people. Okay. Of course, at this time and age, I thought these slides were taken out. At this time and age, this is her story. So we have now 6 senators. We have Filipina justices, and we have a chief justice. We have women in the cabinet. And we have had 2 presidents, of course, that is that could be argued, right? For the sake of argument, 2. And what is the effect of women in government? We are number 5 in the global gender gap. Meaning to say that we have closed the gap between what men could have and what women could have in this country. So if that's the case, what the heck am I doing here? It's because the Philippines is still number 114th among 186 countries in the Human Development Report. Meaning to say that there are serious problems. Serious problems linger. And most of these problems emanate because our women, the real women, not women in Congress, not women in government positions, not women in power, but those women like my grandparents before, they are not given the voice and they're not given the power to be able to manage and control their own destinies. So the series of problems that linger is not only endemic to here. It's not only here locally, but around the world. Let's take a look at the statistics. 6 million girls out of school globally. 8 out of 100, that's more than 2 million, Filipino women cannot read or write. 80% of all human trafficking victims are girls. And the sad part is, and you've seen that all over Facebook, it's this viral video being a photo of a news article being shown around in Bulacan that women are being raped. And human trafficking is also with women. In a single year, an estimated 150 million girls are victims of sexual violence. 1 out of 5 Filipinas have been or will be abused at a certain point in their lifetime. So when you're 1 to 49 years old, you will experience abuse. That is an alarming statistic, and one that we have to make sure will not be the future. The number 1 cause of death for girls 15 to 19 is childbirth. 1 in every 10 Filipinas is a mom. A girl on the planet Earth has 1 in 4 chance of being born into poverty. And that is the problem. But a child born to a literate mother, and this is now the start of the butterfly effect, is 50% more likely to survive past the age of 5. These are pictures of young girls who played along with us when we had our project in Leyte. So they had very, very sad and very, very traumatic experiences because of the typhoon. But when it came to play and when it came to learning, they were all there. They just wanted to do it. Educated mothers are more than twice as likely to send their children to school. And this is very interesting because people might not know this, that women operate a majority of small farms and business in the developing world. Even in the Philippines, majority of the small businesses are owned by Filipinas, are owned by women. Why? Because if you notice your mothers, perhaps, when, for example, it's already the enrollment time and you don't have money, so what does nanay do? What does mama do? Racket. Extra income, diba? We have a lot of rackets. So you do what you can to augment your income. So what does nanay do or mama do or mommy do? She sells Avon. She sells, food, extra food that she may have overcooked the night before, and she sells it to her office mates. Or she goes to she sells maybe kakanin, these little maybe bingka, what else? Puto, just to augment the income. Or she could even sell chorizo. She makes chorizo, she makes longanisa. One of my mom's friends even sells panties, very proudly. And she's earning quite a lot from that. So, the problem is that women are the ones that are always affected. Like when there is the change in government policy, when there are cutbacks, it's always the women being affected. Also, this is the case, there is always a male breadwinner bias. So we are the first to be fired and the last to be rehired. Because why? We are always thought of as the secondary breadwinners. You are not the main breadwinners. That's why, if you notice, when you see advertisements, it's always the daddy or the tatay going out of the house and the woman is staying home taking care of the kids. So this is what I want to impart to you. Investing in women equals smart economics. And I'm not saying that out of the blue. It has been proven by researchers, it is even proven by the United Nations that when the Asia-Pacific economy would grow an additional $89 billion if women were able to achieve their full economic potential. The World Bank estimates that output per worker would increase from 7 to 18% if female entrepreneurs and employees in the East Asia-Pacific region, our region, work in the same sectors, the same type of jobs and activities as men with similar level of access to productive resources. Why is this important, especially to this audience? Because yes, it is true that the enrollment between men and women is more or less the same. But when you graduate, many of you women might have the same qualifications as your male counterparts, but you will never get the same salary or the same level. And this is because we have to break these ceilings. We have to break these perceptions of women. Let me tell you two nice stories. The one on top is of Dalray Polot. She is a daughter of a tricycle driver and a street sweeper. What she made is she made a chocolate factory. So she made Tablea a household name, and she even brought that to Belgium. And she just won the Young Women Entrepreneurs Bootcamp in 2013, and she is continuously inventing, innovating. In the process, she is also an advocate. She has alopecia, so she has a rare hair loss disorder. But she is using her voice to make sure that those who have the disease will not be shamed. But at the same time, she is making sure that her family has a bright future. The one below is Bernadette Manuel. She started her business with 300 pesos. And what she made an empire of dried goods. And the story of Bernadette Manuel is that now she is a finalist in the prestigious Cartier, the Cartier Women's Entrepreneurs Awards in Paris. And those are the ladies also of the fellows of the Young Women Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. They have very similar stories. Most of them come from the provinces. Most of them have just these little ideas to make their lives a bit better. And they've done it, and they've done it well. And you can imagine if these women are multiplied, what kind of a country and what kind of a Philippines that we would have. These are our nanays from Leyte. They were survivors of the Yolanda typhoon. We went there a couple of months ago with the intention of having a trauma healing and community reconciliation project, but we wanted to use the creative arts. The idea was that most of the people who went to Leyte, and there were a lot of them, even international organizations, a lot of foreigners there, and sometimes you wonder if you have been transported to another country. The people who are there, when they help, and they've been helping well, and we are thankful about that, but most of them help and address the physical. What we wanted to address was the silent wounds that sometimes never heal. So we taught them, like we taught Nanay how to do a dream catcher, and we told her that with this dream catcher, you can trap the good dreams and let the bad dreams slip through. And Nanay and the other Nanay, she made puppets and made stories about how you can be resilient, how you can overcome obstacles. What is the effect of teaching women these skills? What happened was, when Glenda came, and that was quite a strong typhoon, the kids got very, very scared. This community that they come from, they got very, very scared. So they got together, they did the dream catcher, they did the puppets, and the kids got their strength from their nanays. Simple things that make a difference, because sometimes it's the silent wounds that really make an impact These are the ones that really tear us apart. And a good example of that is the late Robin Williams. So the question to ask is, how do you put an end to poverty all across the globe? Make sure that girls are given equal opportunities. How do you make sure that there is inclusive growth? Include women. How do you make certain that we have a better Philippines? Make sure that women are empowered. Now, I know the question that the other half of this audience is asking, what about the men? When you grow up, men, I remember one of my uncles telling my cousins, oh, don't play with dolls because you'll be gay, or you'll be a woman, or don't cry. Don't cry, because if you cry, you're woman. So you have to be strong all the time. You can't cry, you can't show your feelings. It seems that you are equating being a woman to being somebody who is weak. And we are not weak. In fact, the only way that this country can progress is if you include us in everything. The butterfly effect tells us that the initial conditions are critical. So that is why let's create an enabling environment for women to flourish. And this is the formula that I wish to share. Empowering women equals smart economics, equals resilient communities, equals inclusive growth, equals sustained development, equals a better life for everyone. This is a picture of my daughter. We live in a globalized world, and she is the perfect example of that. She was born in Barcelona. She holds an American passport. She is a perfect mix of Colombian, she's Latin American, and Filipino. Her favorite toy is that, a bow and arrow, and she wants to be an athlete. When she grows up, I hope that when she flaps her wings, she will not be thought of as eccentric, or worse, she would be thought of as a manananggal or a bruja. But I hope that she would be celebrated because she pushed on, that she found her niche in the world, that she found the way to shine, to soar, and to fly. When women flap their wings, we have to pay attention. Because when we flap our wings, everything is multiplied. There is change. And when there is change, when women flap their wings, the world is transformed.